Hi, it's Ronnie, and welcome to Campfires and Kayaks, a paper crafting YouTuber's hop. And this is a photo I'm scrapping today, and I'm using a birthday present. It is vintage, Simple Stories Vintage Lakeside. So beautiful. And then I'm showing some Tim Holtz dies that I am using and an embossing folder too. And then this fishing one is Gina Marie Designs, and then the one on the back, the fishnet, is Studio Light, and then the mini varsity letters. I originally had this plan for Scrap 5, so all my Scrap 5 things are on here, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. You'll have to wait till next week. And then I paid attention to the post in the Paper Crafting YouTubers Facebook group, and it said campfires and kayaks. And I thought I had one picture with a kayak, so it became this layout instead. I am adding some. It is a white acrylic paint, and I added water to it to make it thinner because when I'm doing mixed media, a lot of times I'll think that the one with the ink and with water added, or the watercolors, of course, with water added, with the packaging technique, looks like water splashes sometimes. So that was my idea behind this. However, I think I should have added some more water, but I wanted to make sure it showed up. So I think I probably was being overly cautious on that. This paper I added here on the left-hand side, it is one of the basic Simple Stories, and I inked it in the lagoon from close to my heart, but I'm going to also ink it in vintage photo and just go around the outer edges. I kind of inked in farther with the other color, but I wanted it to look more vintage. I mean, that's what I was going for, more vintage. And I am adding both the dry adhesive and the liquid adhesive just to make sure it stays, because there is a little bit mixed media on there. Not a whole lot, just a little bit on the edges. And I was being careful on the whole thing. I have this part done ahead of time because I was practicing. And all I did was cut a rectangle, fold it in half, and then in half again. And then I went from the center point of what of what I considered the top, and cut down to the center of the center of the whole thing, and I did it at a curve. And then I used that as a template and made this. I fussy cut the brown part though. I just glued it on there and fussy cut it. I am going to make, the place where the uh, person in the kayak sits, and I am just using two rectangle pieces, one slightly bigger than the other. And then I'm going to make a seat, and I'm going to use my heart punch for the seat because I looked online and was looking at kayaks. I didn't look at the ones in the photo. They are different from what I'm going to end up making, but I wanted to see it from the top view so that would be the part that shows on my layout. But I am making the seat with the two little rectangle pieces and the top of the heart. I did make it into kind of like an outline. And if you look at that, you might think of something else when you look at the seat, but I thought of the top of the heart. And it's just going to go, I kind of centered it in the bottom half of the rectangle. Now, I am using three things that were on the Scrap 5 list on here, but I wanted to put some thread on here because the one online had it. And I wanted them to match top and bottom, so I made me a little template to punch the holes with. And all I did was cut a square, and then, you know how you do with tags, you cut the one side and you flip it over and cut the other side. Basically, I did the same thing on here. And I am adding the thread, and then I'm going to add 8 brads to each corner, but I lost that footage, and I think I lost some other footage in here. I am not sure how they disappeared, but they're not here. They were recorded, I think. I think I accidentally deleted them. I used the Stampin' Up punch. It's called Blossom Builder, and I used the two biggest blossoms, because I like the scallop on them for my oars, and I'm showing it there now. And I kind of proportion the stick part to go with my paddles there. However, when I go to put it on the layout, I'm a little bit shocked at how big it was. It just didn't enter my mind how big I was making it. But I'm going to leave it because, it looks good on the layout. It may not be easy to manage if you were out there in a kayak having something that big, but it looks good on the layout. Even though I do try to go to scale on stuff I put on there, I am highlighting literally everything with my highlighter because I'm figuring if it's outside, that sun's going to hit it from directly above and it's going to have lots of highlights. So yeah, I'm going all over the whole thing. I added two little enamel dots, one at the top and the one at the bottom. And that's it for my kayak. And then I'm going to add the highlights to the oar and I'll be done with it too. And I'll forget about all the other stuff I had die cut out that needs paper pieced and pull my layout back in here. Right there is when I notice how big it is, and I'm thinking, do I want to take it apart, cut it down? And then I decided, nah, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it because it's going to go up over the kayak and lean against the photo. And I like that idea. Since I already have foam tape behind my photo and my oar, my little kayak's not going to get any foam tape. And then I'm going to put lots of stuff on top of it because I got this idea to have a collage cluster, and that means a big cluster. In case y'all are wondering, I don't know if it's recorded as that or anything, or technically that, but that's what I'm going to call it. So I am making a collage cluster over on the left-hand corner, and so there will be a lot there. I'm using this scrap here to make me a little crate. I thought about making a tackle box, and then I thought, well, I had that piece of scrap laying there next to me in this little bowl. If I use that, I can make a crate instead, and I can still put some things in it and like tumbling out of it even. And so that's what I'm doing. So I cut them apart and inked them separately. And they don't fit perfectly. They look rustic, and that's what I like about it. And then I'm using the varsity letters to put kayak parking. Now, my first thought was to put kayak renting, but I knew the kayaks weren't rented, that wouldn't work, so I went ahead and put parking instead. My mind was kind of on the blank side of anything else to put on here. I cut this fishing rod reel out of brown first, and that's going to go on the bottom. And the one I'm clipping now, I'm clipping all the string looking part, fishing line looking part off. And then I'm just going to lay it on top of the brown so you can still see the brown fishing line after it's done. And I cut the handle part out of a wood grain, another piece of scrap laying there. And it was a lighter one, and I thought it'd help it show up. However, most of it's going to be tucked into the crate, so you won't see most of it. But I was going to put it on and realized I need to do a couple other things first. I cut the belly band out and the little reel thing that you turn and out of the pewter looking metal stuff. And then I had some dark red. It's kind of a dark burnt orange, and that's the color in the collection. So I wanted to make sure I used it for the part where all the line is at. And I had to put them on first before I could put my handle, so the one part would look like it's tucking up into there or under there or whatever. I didn't want to lay it on top. And I put my little crate on foam tape, but I left the edges so I could tuck underneath. I didn't put the foam tape all the way across. And my fishing line fishing pole is going to go right there. And I scrunched up my fishing net and tore it and inked it. And the other piece that you see laying over there, it's going to go on there, but it's going to go right below the fishing pole. So it looks kind of like it's hanging down in the water to help go with the theme of that actually being water down there in that corner. And I'm even going to put a turtle there to help bring it more home, since I'm not quite sure if it looks like it. Um, Another piece of uh, recording I think I lost is me putting these crystals on the water there in the right hand corner. I don't think it's in there. This is like my fifth or sixth time doing the voiceover because it keeps the voice part keeps disappearing. It looks like it's on there, but you can't hear anything. If you're rewinding, you can hear it, but if you're going forward, you can't. So, yeah, hopefully this time's the charm. And yeah, either I missed it or it's not there. But I'm going to tell you, it's there. So that's what they're on there for, to help bring home the fact that that's water again. Maybe I am. Oh, there's my little turtle, and he is just super cute. I added line to my fishing pole, and I am just going to kind of, you know how when you cast your line out, that's what I'm making it look like in my head. But I'm not very good at casting a line out. It does not go in a beautiful, uh, nice big flow. And then don't do it on my paper either. Just so y'all know, by the time I get done, it's still not up there in my, like it is in my head of how it should go. It looks kind of like my real life ones. The part of the end of that is going to get covered up with some greenery, but you can still see the hook, and that's what I want. And here I decided I need something else on there, and so I'm making a bobber. I cut out white and red, and I cut the red in half and put it on there so I can use part of the other half to make that little thing that goes up and down in the center and catches the line. I know I could have used the rest of my scrap, but I figured that part would get thrown away anyhow, so I used it instead. I should have went ahead and made another one to put down there in my crate, but I didn't think of it at the time. But while I'm adding odds and ends to the layout, I'm adding ephemera and things that I cut out of the dies from Gina Marie Designs. And a couple of them I went ahead and layered in advance because they're pretty tiny and be hard to see anyhow. So I am just adding them, one of which is hanging on the side of the crate there, and it has a hook. But anyway, I will get sidetracked. I want to point out that down there below are the links to everybody else that are doing the campfires and kayaks hop. And yeah, it'll be lots of summer inspiration. It may or may not be a layout because it is paper crafters. So they might do something else this time. Uh, However, my first choice is scrapbooking. I did crafts for years and years, paper crafts even, but yeah, I think scrapbooking has made it to the top of my list for the last, I don't know how many years. I guess it'd be 17, 18 years that I have been scrapping. And I guess I need to tell about the photo too. The photo is my grandson in the back. He's the one farthest away, and the one in the front is Autumn Jane. Now he's older. He's 7. He's 7, and she is 6. She's between his and Hope's age. So they're all right there, like little steps. And they're out there kayaking, and they look like they know what they're doing. Well, I'm sure they do because they've been doing it all summer. And they look like they're alone, but they're not. Take my word for it, they're not. They're in their little life jackets, and there are plenty of adults around. They are not by themselves, but they sure do look cute out there. I am adding some greenery. Most of it is that Tim Holtz dye. It is called um, my mind's blank. It's something greenery, garden greenery. That's it. And it comes in the thinlet dyes, or you could get it on that long sizzlet strip like I have. I've had mine a while, and they cut out beautifully, of course. And they were already done and inked and in my big tray. So I decided I was going to use them on this layout. Plus, the branches that I'll be using, and I forgot to show, is a Tim Holtz branch punch. And then I'm just going to tuck them here and there in my big cluster here, my collage cluster. Um, I cut the little fishing pieces out in that dark burnt orange because I wanted that as the accent color. And I'll think, while I'm doing all this, I need a little bit more. Y'all know I like more anyway. So I will be pulling out a EK Success flower punch and making some flowers to scatter through there. And so then I'll really be done with my layout. There are a couple of things that's tucked in there that say something. And one is fresh air and sunshine, and the other one is explore your world. But that does look like what they're doing in their kayaks. However, my title is Keeping It Real in Our Kayaks, and I put the word real, REEL, since I do have a reel on the layout. They are not fishing, but I do have a reel on my layout. And since I've done this voiceover a few times, I just now realized I haven't apologized for how long the video is. Yeah, it is kind of long, especially for a hop. But I just kind of sped it up as much as I could and cut out as much as I could, trying to make it a little bit shorter for y'all. I am putting my flowers together, and the yellow I used was kind of on the bright side for my layout. So I'm inking the edges in the vintage photo, and yeah, I ended up more on my fingers probably than I did the paper, but I think they look better on the layout when I get done. I am just going to scatter them, and then, yeah, I am going to be done, and you guys will probably think it's about time. So if you stuck with the whole thing, thank you so very much. Yeah, that's it. And if you leave a comment down there below, I'll try to get back with you. And if you like the video and hit a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. And those of you already are, thank you so very much. And again, thank you all for watching. And there's my little water droplets on my white water. And there's my little crate, and see how that one hook just hangs on the side. I mean, I couldn't resist. I had a hook. I had to hook it on something. And there's my oar. And yeah, that's it. That's my layout. But have a happy, scrappy week. Have fun on the hop. And pull your scrappy stuff out and see if you got any pictures with fire campfires. Oh, I wanted to say fireplaces. Could y'all tell that's what I was going to say? Campfires and kayaks. Bye.